So a couple of days ago, I died on what I thought was going to be my forever hardcore world.
Oh, come on!
Anyways, here I am starting a new world, and boy, do I have a story for you. So for me, top three worst Mel experiences are getting kicked in the nuts, losing one of your big three after a night out, like keys, wallet, or phone, and getting your group chat leaked. And by leak, I obviously mean an intentional disclosure of something secret or private. You've probably already been in a group chat, and if so, you might have witnessed some crazy stuff go down. For example, insults, harassment, explicit content being shared, the bad stuff. Now, I've been in this situation twice, and I'm gonna tell you about both times that it happened to me. But before that, for legal purposes, I have to give you a disclaimer. I don't think any of this is funny, especially harassment, because it can cause damage to someone, whether through a screen or personally. What is said is meant, and people can have different reactions to any statement directed towards themselves or others. And do not forget, even if you don't share anything on chats where shit goes south, you can also be punished just because of your presence. You think you're in a safe space on social media, but you're actually not in one at all. And the reasons are obvious. Your messages are stored in data centers, and even if you delete them, the data will always exist somewhere as evidence. And I firmly believe these big companies can retrieve these messages. Then you can't obviously forget that other people on the group chat may get disturbed, offended, or scared and report the messages. So just be careful regardless, is what I'm trying to say. But who cares, let's just laugh anyway. I'll start off by the weaker one to save the best for last. It happened when I was 14. A classmate had lost $30 and asked the group chat if anyone had found it. The conversation immediately started off with people telling him that $30 wasn't that big of a deal. But yeah, you never know. Some people's situations differ. Maybe his parents were less wealthy. Anyway, he just started getting flamed. The guy was already kind of an outcast. He was a big Minecraft and Among Us fan. Don't get me wrong, those things are cool, and they were, especially in 2020. It's just that the country where I'm at, American culture isn't that influential. So yeah, the poor guy just got absolutely destroyed by the classmates. Now, I could have done something myself to try and stop them, but without wanting to insult these people, they were kind of low IQ-ish. And well, I think you already know that trying to beat a stupid person in an argument is kind of hopeless. I just let them unravel that kid. But I didn't participate because I got bullied myself a couple of years prior. But it ended kind of well because the kid rightfully told his parents, and the principal got involved, and there were punishments. The important thing is that after that, the kid didn't really get bullied, and that he ended up happy. At least I hope so. I haven't seen him for 6 years. Anyways, this was kind of the boring story. Now, the reason why the second story is more interesting is because I was actually part of the scandal. Haha, let's go. So, this was just a year after. I was 15. I had just changed schools. For context, the country where I'm from, 15-year-olds decide whether they want to keep going with school or start working jobs. If you've watched my previous videos, you would know that I'm an athlete. And the whole situation's first domino was when the school thought it was a great idea to put me and 5 other teammates in one class. And if you've ever been an athlete, you just know that hanging out with them, especially outside of your sport facility, usually ends up being gits and shiggles. And on top of that, even the non-athletic guys were pretty unhinged. So since day one, we were kind of doing dumb stuff, but things really kicked off when one of us noticed that a bird's eye view of the school resembled a certain hate symbol. Now, the school was built a really long time ago, so it wasn't intentional. And for some reason, this detail made us forget everything that was morally correct. It sent us into this inappropriate mindset, and it really sent us in there like hard. I don't know why we were so deep into it, but that's just how things went. We were just abusing offensive jokes. But don't worry, we didn't attack specific people in the class or at the school. But we were just doing jokes about general things, and I'm pretty sure you know what I'm talking about. Now, for the group chat part. Ever heard of WhatsApp stickers? If you do, you know that those things can get horrible. They're just like Instagram reels, just harmful little dopamine shots that are supposed to be funny. So it happened a couple of times that us, the guys, had these little excitement peaks and we would just start flooding the group chat with WhatsApp stickers. And it would either happen during class or during school time. Oh, and I forgot to mention which group chat it was. It was actually the class group chat, which also happened to have as a profile picture bird's eye view of the school. Yeah, we weren't careful at all. The worst part is we thought we were getting away with all of this humor because there were occasions where the girls would laugh or even the teachers, obviously without seeing our group chat because they weren't in there. But the day we got busted, I feel like a lot of things kind of stacked up and it just made the bubble pop. On that day, we were doing presentations on poems and this one girl made a really detailed presentation to the point where she was mentioning concepts you only see when you're doing a master's degree in literature. She was the last one to present. And the teacher for the following lesson was sick, so it gave us too much time to process the fact that she had blatantly cheated. So all of us dudes, convinced that she had cheated, went into a free access classroom and found a YouTube video going over the same poem as her, using the same exact terms. Like, she didn't even mix up the order of the analysis, it was just straight up plagiarism. With this information in hand, we all went crazy in the classroom and obviously on the group chat. One sticker got sent and the rest just came in flooding the chat. But the line got crossed when one genius decided to make a fake email to the teacher with a link to the YouTube video and sent a screenshot of the email that wasn't sent into the group chat. That kind of spooked the girl. And she went to tell on us to the assistant director. So the next lesson comes, all the boys sit down in class, but there aren't any girls. Turns out she didn't go tell on us by herself. And then when they came back, they were acting as if nothing had happened. But it gave us enough time to process what had happened and what was coming our way. We knew we were fucked. So they kind of told us what they went to tell the assistant principal. It was more like trying to show the fake email and that she was feeling harassed. But then the principal just started scrolling through the chat because we were in the middle of sending a bunch of stickers. And so, yeah, they just saw the whole thing. It was a Friday, so nothing had really happened to us yet. And we also understood the girls' reactions, but we were still scared. Although one guy kind of got into the face of the girl that felt harassed. I don't think he physically assaulted her, because he didn't get expelled or anything. But I do kind of understand how stressed he was probably feeling because he was actually repeating the year and he already had problems the year before. I still remember the following Sunday as if it was yesterday. Me and the other athletes from the class went out and we were joking that the next day we were gonna get absolutely destroyed. I have a snap memory of that day and every time I see it, I'm like, oh damn, another year went by. Well, spoiler alert, we were right. You know what, I don't think destroyed is the appropriate term. We kind of got shredded. There's a thing about the school I was attending, and it is that you're only supposed to see the principal twice during your time there. Once on the first day of school, and the second time at graduation. Hey, but we were lucky enough to see him on that day. I remember just walking into the class and seeing him. It was so off-putting. He gave this really big speech about how our behaviors were unacceptable. He explained the consequences and even name-dropped. Fortunately, nobody got expelled, but all the boys got detention because we had to write an apology letter. But my mom made me write an apology letter before they told us we had detention, so I managed to escape that. My mom also made me delete all my socials as punishment on her behalf. But back to the actual school punishments. Some of us got expulsion warnings and meetings with the principal, and I was included, so It kind of compensated avoiding detention. As scary as a one-on-one meeting with your principal that you're only supposed to see twice in 4 years sounds, it was actually pretty chill. I kind of had to explain myself, but he also admitted that some of them were pretty funny, which kind of surprised me because he looked like the serious guy. But he also gave me a little punishment, and it was to read this autobiography about someone that had been touched by one of the subjects we were laughing about with the stickers. I won't mention who the author is or about what it is, so to not kind of like give off the subjects because they could be sensitive, especially on this platform. So yeah, I had to read the book, and as someone who doesn't read, I actually loved it. Unironically, it was the only time I was skipping sleep to read something. That's just how intrigued I was by it. The aftermath was pretty straightforward. We dropped the stickers, we dropped the edgy humor around the girls and teachers, and we made a group chat just for the boys, just in case we wanted to act dumb. And if you've made it this far into the video, you've probably seen the thumbnail. I do mention the FBI. They didn't get involved because, well, this didn't happen in the United States. They did call the police, but the police said it wasn't grave enough for them to intervene. So maybe we weren't in the wrong, maybe we weren't. All jokes aside, it was still a pretty huge lesson for me. I really calmed down on the humor and even put on a filter. But don't worry, my personality really didn't change. I'm still the same person. I just moderate and adjust my humor depending on the type of people I'm around. I'm just more careful, For me, humor is subjective. Anything can be a joke, like kind of under the form of a coping mechanism, but it's obvious that there are limits. Jokes can be offensive, and depending on the things you're making fun of, you should have a firm understanding of the context. I believe freedom of speech exists everywhere. The only issue is that it can be met with consequences because it doesn't force others to tolerate what you're saying. But unfortunately, some people tolerate free speech less than others. So do as you wish, but always be careful. But hey, if you've made it this far, thanks for watching and have a nice day. And consider subscribing, it would make mine as well.